Right off the bat, I want you to know that I know almost nothing about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've listened to the song, and I know they had a crossover with Batman, but the trailer looked great, so I'm 100% watching this movie, because I just want to watch good movies.
And you ruined it.
Well, that was disappointing. I will not be complaining about any lore that has been changed from this movie and from previous iterations, because I obviously wouldn't know the old from the new. Let's start with the plot synopsis, shall we? A scientist man has left an evil company with classified information and ooze. Said evil company has men raid the scientist man's house to take back the ooze. The scientist man dies in the fight, but a giant sentient fly escapes with vials of ooze with baby animals in them. There's a baby frog, alligator, rhinoceros, pig, and many others. Another vial of ooze gets lost down the sewer and turns 4 turtles and 1 rat into mutant turtles and a mutant rat. 15 years pass, and the turtles are now ninjas because humans hate mutants and they need to protect themselves. The turtles befriend a human girl named April by getting her moped back by fighting off criminals. They decide to stop a crime boss known as Superfly so that the humans will accept them and they won't have to live in the sewers anymore. Honest moment here, guys. I never really understood what made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles popular in the first place. I always thought it was a really odd concept that wouldn't be translated well, or at least wouldn't be adapted well for very long. But about halfway through this movie, there is a series of fights mixed in together, along with some scenes of the turtles just talking about their future and having fun fighting together, and it clicked. It just made sense. This concept, although strange, can make for some very great stories. And that was the best 6 minutes of the entire movie. Moving on. Once they meet Superfly, they learn of his plans to kill all the humans. And they decide, well, they should probably stop him and the other mutants from turning literally every human into like a pet or like a slave. So they decide on that. A big fight happens, which ends with all the turtles getting captured by the evil corporation from the beginning and being milked to get their DNA, maybe? Their blood for something, maybe? But they're unable to finish because April found Splinter, the Rat Man, their dad, and he breaks in to save the turtles. A horrible fight takes place between Splinter and the other guards from Evil Corporation, who have guns that can change mutants back into normal animals. Not normal guns, which would work way better, but just anti-mutant guns. They fight. The fight makes no sense, but ends with Splinter saving the turtles. They go to stop Superfly. They convince all the other mutants that are on his team to switch sides. They now decide to not kill all the humans, and instead, they all fight Superfly. It becomes a Superfly versus literally everyone else. The fight's not that cool, it's pretty lame. It ends with the big mutant creating device being dropped on top of Superfly, and then that and him falling through the floor of the boat and exploding in the water. This obviously kills Superfly. I'm just kidding. No. Obviously, this turns him into a giant whale-like mix between every other creature imaginable. Yeah, he's basically a giant Cthulhu monster. He's got narwhals for fingers, like hundreds of horses on his legs. It's a very odd thing to look at. He's basically a giant Cthulhu monster. And he starts destroying New York. Everyone teams up to stop him, including the New Yorkers. They do this by dropping an anti-mutant MacGuffin into the whale's blowhole. New York is saved. Now the turtles can go to high school. I wasn't really impressed with the plot. A lot of things make no sense, and I have so many questions. Like, where are the police? We only see the evil corporation with armed guards. We don't see any police in this movie. Why put such an emphasis on shooting the mutants with anti-mutant guns, opposed to just using normal guns that would work infinitely better? Why aren't there any security cameras anywhere that matter? Like at the evil corporation. There's a security camera in the freaking store at the beginning of the movie, but there's not one at the evil corporation with all these mutants? How in the world does Superfly turn into a Cthulhu monster made up of other animals? That's not how we saw any of the mutant ooze working earlier. It hasn't applied that way to any of these other animals. Why are all of these idiots risking their lives to stop this monster in the middle of New York City? They don't even know if the anti-ooze will even work or not. It's honestly pretty frustrating. The plot gets a 3 out of 10. Now, I've got to talk about the comedy. I laughed quite a lot in this movie, mostly because every human in this world looks like they got ran over by a combine, and when Splinter suddenly teleported weapons into his hands in the middle of a fight, oof, that was pretty funny. But I did laugh at some jokes as well. I'd say for every 3 jokes, there was one that was pretty funny. The best jokes are in the trailer, but there are a few more good ones, so it was pretty enjoyable at times. You know when it wasn't enjoyable? Every time they had a reference. Oh my goodness. Referencing Mark Ruffalo isn't a joke. Like, you still need to write a joke. It's not a punchline, just saying Mark Ruffalo's name. They reference Ratatouille, Mickey Mouse, Shrek, Star Trek, Endgame, Despicable Me, freaking Megamind. But it's not funny. All they do is insert reference and expect you to smile and laugh. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, it wasn't funny at all. The comedy barely, just barely, gets a 4 out of 10 for me. Lastly, I'll talk about the characters. The only human name I can remember is April, so I'll start with her. Her arc in this film deals with her getting over the fact that she puked at school one time and trying to put that behind her and pursue a career in journalism. Her interactions with the turtles weren't even that interesting, which is crazy because that's literally the main focus of these turtles' characters. They want to interact with humans, but every interaction they have with humans is either with the bad guys being tortured or captured, or it's chock full of jokes and it's not taken seriously. The turtle characters were lame, although they looked pretty cool. Them fighting together was definitely my favorite part of the movie. Ultimately, though, as individual characters, they get nothing. Splinter was definitely the best character, arc-wise. He hates humans for how they treated him and his kids, but because of his love for his kids and their desire to be with the humans, he changes. Superfly was kind of cool, but before he turned into a giant Cthulhu whale monster thing, he wasn't very interesting at all after that. Characters gets 3 out of 10. If you watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm curious what you will think about this movie. But for me, as an innocent bystander who just watched it to have a good time and to watch a good movie, I was pretty disappointed. I give Mutant Mayhem a 3 out of 10. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm planning on doing a longer analysis of this movie over on Save the Script. It's more of just a podcast where me and Agent M can share our thoughts on the movies. He has definitely seen much more of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles than I have, so if you'd like some more opinions on the movie, go over there and watch that. Alright, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
My son, Michelangelo, you have Donatello, you have Raphael, you have and Leonardo. Heroes in a half shell. Don't use that word that way.
People's, they got to go.
Don't use that word that way.
A bit cool.
What's going on?